man. How's what did everybody think of the sessions? You like it?
A lot of information. It was really good. I was taking some notes, and then after a while I was like, you know what, I'll just wait and take the audio of this thing and create a transcript of it and just read it from there. So no
Great
sense in
idea.
killing myself. It was good though.
Why the fuck doesn't mine work?
What was your biggest takeaway, Randy?
You know, just kind of hearing what everybody had to say. Both speakers were you know, came from a different perspective, but I think the thing that the takeaway for me was just kind of, you know, just work to pull it together and, you know, put the time and effort in, and it will ultimately reap the benefits that you're looking for. I think one of the unique things about job boards is that, you know, they serve different needs for different communities. And you know, I'm not trying to be all things to all people. So I feel like if I create a good job board for the market that I serve, I think it will benefit me in the long run.
What is your job board? Do you have one, or are you?
So I was the one talking about I have a hyper local podcast called I Am Northwest Arkansas, and so I have a job board called Onboard NWA, which is a local job board site that I'm in the process of spinning up, and it's essentially going to piggyback off of the community that I've already built over the last 4 years with I Am Northwest Arkansas, which covers the intersection of business, culture, entrepreneurship, and life here in Northwest Arkansas, which is, you know, where Walmart, JB Hunt, and Tyson are located. But
there he is.
So yeah. But yeah, so that's what I'm working on.
Well, I like the fact that you already have an audience that you're looking to talk to via the podcast, which gives you a head start with your, you know, for launching something like this.
Mac Pritchard said the same thing, because he asked me. I talked to him, and I found out about you and him and Jeff, and I was like, oh, okay. And so you know, Mac Pritchard said the same thing, because I have an audience already, and it's a large audience. You know, that I'm going to be able to kind of plug this in. And ultimately, my job board is going to be one of the primary sponsors of my podcast.
Makes
so
sense.
that's how I'm going to do it.
Makes sense.
Yep.
Hello, Harry Joyner. How's it going? Oh, I can't hear you.
It was a lot of fun. Thanks so much for doing a great job. Thanks so much for putting it together. It was very enjoyable.
Harry, for the audience, is an e-commerce recruiter. He's a recruiter guy in e-commerce, and are you looking to start a job board, Harry?
I'm a fan. I'm always thinking about starting a job board. My website is ecommercejobs.com, and so there is basically a blog. If you go to ecommercejobs.com, it's every job posting is a blog post, basically.
Yeah, so Harry does.
Myself, I like to say I'm the Jay Peterman of e-commerce careers.
Yeah, go read some of his job postings out there that he writes. They're the best job descriptions I've ever read.
He's lurid, you know. But they take a while to write, so it's a lot of fun, but it doesn't scale. And I own a number of different domains. I CEOjobs.com and CFOjobs.com and CreativeJobs.com. But I'm not doing anything with those domains. And I always puzzle about, like, how do I get this off the ground so that I don't really have to change businesses? Because every time I hang out with a group like this, I'm struck by how different, like, the job board business is just different than recruiting.
Yeah.
And I just enjoy recruiting. So that's awesome, but it doesn't scale.
Yeah. So yeah, it's marketing and content and
puzzle.
Sales and that kind of stuff. So let's see here. Jordan, do you have a job board?
I do have I just made one this year. Where's this? I've lost the screen now. You might guess I'm not the most tech savvy
Okay, we can see it.
I don't know how to open it. I've built I've bought software to host construction jobs in Australia.
Okay.
So, well, obviously what my background is working in construction. And when I went to live in Australia for 2 years, and I seen there was a niche there's room in the market for the specific adverts. And what I done when I lived there, I started Facebook pages and groups, which wasn't so common. 2018, 19 in Australia, they weren't so common having groups for jobs and stuff. And one of my groups is just been continuously growing, and is up to like 17,500, and that's targeted construction workers in one
Yeah,
city.
that's a good audience.
So obviously what I've been doing for a long time, I've had the idea of getting the website up, and eventually this year in January, I've launched cga-australia.com, which is Construction Jobs Australia. And obviously that's why I'm following. I've been watching bits of your YouTube.
Yeah,
And
it's funny. I've been
trying
talking to, I've had a couple of Australian clients the last year. One was in medical and one was in engineering, niches.
Yeah.
They were doing it for Australia. So glad you could join us today.
Yeah, nice.
We got Wilkin here from K-12 Jobs down in New Jersey. Hey, Wilkin, one of my clients.
Hi, how's everybody doing?
I like you put your job board in the name there for Zoom. That's a great idea. Everyone put their job board in their Zoom name. That would be helpful for everyone to see where you're from. Dave, I think Plutus.com. Is that a job board?
Oh no, sorry, that's my mortgage broker's business.
Okay.
Oh, I went to the website. I was
No, the job board is digitalmarketingjobs.com.
Oh, okay.
oh,
Great.
digital marketing.
Stacy, what nutrition jobs? Okay. Nutritionjobs.com or
Yeah, so nutritionjobs.com. I've had that for over 20 years, and it's been this lovely 6-figure side hustle.
oh, wow.
And I have another site though called Exercise Jobs that is not. So I don't know really what I am a dietitian, and so my job board is for dietitians. So I do I've got a huge, enormous community that's sort of nailed down, but I'm always looking for ways to help out exercise jobs, but also to get more employers posting the jobs on nutrition jobs, sort of a finite community of dietitians.
Yep.
And the employers can vary from being small to the large contract food service companies like Sodexo and Aramark. And so they choose to not post on my site typically, although I just got someone to do an annual contract. But so I've never gone into the sales end of running the job board. Like I said, it's just a sort of a side thing. But
Stacy, is it nutrition jobs or is it nutritionist jobs?
Nutrition jobs.
Okay.
Awesome.
That's
That's a
great.
great-
20 years. Huh? Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Peter Askew's here from Ranch Work. What's up, Peter?
Hey, Chris.
Mr. WordPress, job board guy.
I love WordPress. WordPress is a good platform for job boards. Although I'm tempted by you guys, I've just jumped on. You guys may have been talking about the other job board softwares out there that keep popping up. And those are neat. I've never tried many of them, but there's so many new WordPress themes that keep coming out. HivePress. Have you heard of that one, Chris?
There's like hundreds of job board themes.
Well, there's a
It's
brand
crazy.
new one, really good looking, HivePress. They have a job
HivePress?
board. Yeah, I've never tried it. Really clean, a simple search interface, categories, tags. Get a good WordPress host that's super fast, and then start serving.
Do you have a developer on staff you can use to tweak stuff every now and then? How much
I do it.
maintenance
I can do 80 or 90% of it. My background's paid search and SEO and analytics. And, but for like good looking design, like Ranch Work, the second version of it, I outsourced because I wanted it to look proper, essentially, on a desktop. And for my customers there, gosh, Chris, it's crazy. About 80% of my traffic to that site is on mobile device,
Yeah.
which makes total sense. All these ranchers and mainly ranch hands that are out in the field, they're in remote Texas somewhere. And their main computer access is a mobile phone, smartphone. So they're accessing, looking for jobs and accessing the site and then window shopping. So I wanted to make sure it looked good. And fast. And, when I add images, I crush those images down through any kind of software that'll make them as small.
Oh, yeah, you
as
compress the images in the file.
compress them. Yeah. I mean, you can get lazy and start throwing up 1 megabyte images on each job posts, and then your site starts getting just gigantic, and it's a poor user experience for my little ranchers and for my ranch hands and customers, looking for jobs. Yeah. And it's good for search too. SEO. I mean, the engine's like hyper fast. And if you have if you had 4 images and they're all a megabyte, it's going to take a while for that page to load. Search engines do not like that, and they're going to ping your site, and then you don't start ranking as well. So I minimize them, and then I crush them down. I try to get them down to like 20 or 40K per image. Yeah. I don't mean to hijack the conversation here.
No, good. We're just chatting.
Yeah.
I just here from Go
You're
Jobs.
the Idealia onion guy, aren't you?
I am. I
Yes.
am the onion guy too. I like job boards too. Don't get me wrong.
He's a
have
domain
friend-
guy. Yeah, he's a domainer.
I'm a domainer, but I build on domains typically. But a friend of mine in the Georgia area this is early in my journey, built a nursing job board, and he had it acquired by, oh gosh, if you go to, was it nursingjobs.org? I may have to find it. It was a .org. So he had a very good exit on it, and he ran it solo, and that fascinated me in my early days. I was just getting into development. He was a PHP developer, and he had a very good run and sold it. And then he jumped into other vertical job boards, engineer jobs. He sold that one. Engineer, his name's Shane Pike. You should have him on the podcast, Chris, or whatever. Fascinating guy. He got into whole NewYorkJobs.com, but he had a good exit on EngineerJobs.com. So he's hand coding and building all these sites from raw PHP. I didn't have as much coding experience as he did in the beginning, so I started to lean on WordPress to make mine a little bit easier. But then I went down the rabbit hole of domain names and accidentally bought Vidalia. And then, this is probably boring to the job board folks out here, but
at Vidalia, didn't you? Like, do you know Ken Robbins?
I do know Ken Robbins in Atlanta.
He says you're really big time smart. And he was bragging to me one time over lunch how like this domain guys in the job board space in South Georgia, he bought VidaliaOnions.com, and so for a while, like you became an onion mogul, didn't you?
Well, I'm still in it. Yeah, I still ship. Our season's about to start. We're taking pre-orders right now.
Are you, Peter? Are you jealous of the guy who runs that nuts.com?
I do. Do you read that whole story? So they bought that
I've
domain
seen the
late.
commercials.
Well, they own Nuts. They started as nutsonline.com.
Okay.
And there's a great story. They went on I believe it was the Rachel Ray show. And this is just another example, owning a great domain. So they're on the Rachel Ray show talking about the nuts that they sell on their site. They were still operating on nutsonline.com. And then right at the tail end of the show, Rachel Ray looks in the camera and says, "Hey, everybody, don't forget, visit these guys at nuts.com and make sure you give them all your money." And they were like, no, it's Nuts Online. It's not nuts.com. And then they were like, okay, we have to pony
Get
up.
it? Yeah.
We need to get this name and get it in house. They overspent, and then they had some hiccups in just the SEO transfer from they didn't do a quite proper 301 redirect on and so their traffic tanked, and some of their business went in the gutter for 6 months to a year, but then they recouped it all. They made correct changes to.
Wow.
It's a tough shift. You have to make sure you're crossing T's and dotting I's when you do a domain it's one of the reasons I haven't moved over from ranch work to ranch jobs. I own ranchjobs.com.
Oh yeah.
And I bought it just to take a chess piece off the board. But man, there's so many moving parts. And it's weird. Ranch work has been around 25 years now. I adopted it 10 years ago. But now it's branded so well from so many folks. Folks now look for ranch work. And so I was like, it's kind of stupid for me to even move over to ranch jobs. So I bought ranch jobs, redirect it. And the dang name, that name alone, Chris, gets probably around 400 or 500 type-ins. People go to the browser bar. They're looking for a ranch job. They type in ranchjobs.ad.com and hit enter. And it's one of my best lead gen avenues.
It's a great tip. Buy other domains that and redirect them.
I do
competition.
that. I bought ranch job or ranchemployment.com. I think I copied you or on Twitter, like the guy who bought entertainment jobs. For
Yeah, I
like
just saw that
five-
thread. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, great price, $5,400. And then I didn't even know this guy, whoever, man or woman, whoever controls that art, and they own art jobs, design jobs.
Peter, so
And
you're saying you buy the domain and then you do a redirect back to your primary site, like so
Yeah.
for example, for mine it's called Nutrition Jobs. So you're saying that I should buy like dietitian jobs and then have it redirected back over. Nothing changes, right?
You could, yeah. It's a sort of a marketing play. So I started off on Ranch Work. I was trying to buy ranchjobs.com at the time. The owner wanted $20,000 for it, and I didn't want to spend it. But I was confident. I see over the years, I've seen how folks refer to job boards, and it's almost consistently, and you have a great domain, Nutrition Jobs, Ranch Jobs. And it's typically industry plus jobs, plural, and then .com. And I've seen folks, I've looked over like the shoulder of, I've instructed folks, okay, you're looking for this type of job. Where would you go if you just typed in a domain? Or I've even seen them just do it on the fly, and they'll type in whatever they're looking for, add jobs, and then type in .com. But for Ranch Work, I didn't own Ranch Jobs. I really wanted it. COVID hit and the financial world was going all crazy. So I went through a third-party broker. There are these marketplaces where folks sell domains, and one's called Afternic. So I went through my Afternic rep so I could be anonymous. So they knew it. So hopefully they didn't know it was me. They probably still knew it was me. I went through the broker, offered like $2,000 for Ranch Jobs. They came back low, like around $7,000. Maybe I was hoping that they were a little bit spooked on the economy. And so they came back. We came back and agreed on, I think I bought it for $5,000. So I bought it for $5,000, but it's a one-time fee. .coms are so wonderful because they're somewhat inexpensive to renew. I mean, they're $10 a year, $20 at GoDaddy, but it's $10 to $20 a year to renew a domain and own this. I see it as like digital real estate. You own this corner of the internet. As long as you renew it, you own it. And so I bought Ranch Jobs, and then within GoDaddy, this is just the registrar I have it at, you can add a redirect. And so I add UTM parameters at the end. Those, they were old from the Urchin days. The UTM stands for urchin tracking something. Chris, maybe urchin tracking something, yeah. But it's just a parameter that'll essentially tell you where the traffic is coming from. So if you type in ranchjobs.com, you'll see the parameters I have tagged onto the end of it. When it gets passed over to Ranch Work. So that way I can track how much traffic is that domain driving to me each month.
That's a great tip, by the way. Thanks.
Yeah, does
that mean you can use two domains to go to the same website?
Sure. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So for me, because I'm cgaustralia.com, but I also own the domain constructionjobsaustralia.com.
Yeah, forward.
I chose to shrink it down to look smaller. Does that mean I can redirect Construction Jobs Australia to make all that land also to my website?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, depending on your registrar,
okay.
Some registrars make it a little bit easier than others. GoDaddy makes it quite easy. They have
I'm with GoDaddy. That's who I've bought me links for domains from. So that's good. That's something good for me to know.
Here, let me see if I can find here. I'll work and I'll see if I can find the link. They probably have a little tutorial on here. GoDaddy redirect domain. And then within this redirect domain section forward, let me see if I can find it. It's where you can add some UTM parameters. If you maybe go to YouTube, if you're not familiar with UTM, and those are three initials, UTM.
Peter, you can't just forward it to the URL with the UTM attached.
You can, yeah. You can redirect it to a raw domain, right? But it's always helpful if you have the UTM, so you know how much traffic is being forwarded over from that specific name, which I always try my best to add a UTM to each. If I have ranchjob.com, ranch employment, hopefully I have a UTM on that one. But by and far, Ranch Jobs is the one that drives me a lion's share of the traffic.
So in the little field in GoDaddy where you're doing the redirect, it's a permanent redirect, right?
Correct. You can set it. Yeah,
and then it's ranchjobs.com / and then what do I put in after that?
Here, Chris, I'll forward, let me find a UTM
in the chat there, yeah.
maker. Yeah, let me see if I can find a UTM maker first. So you typically, I'm just forwarding you a link where you kind of create. Let me find the little chat here. There's chat. This is just one site. There are lots of sites that create these UTMs for you. So you can essentially say, what is the URL? And then a campaign. You're essentially naming this. What do you want the campaign name to be? Or the medium would be if you were sending this tracking link through an email promotion or through paid search, or say if it's a newspaper. I'll give you a good example. I bought a billboard for VidaliaOnions.com. Vidalia is notorious, a little tricky to spell. So I wanted a simpler domain to appear on the billboard. I had it on I-95 just south of Savannah, Georgia. So I wanted a very simple domain name to throw up on the billboard. And then what I did is I redirected all the traffic from this domain. I bought the domain BuyOnions, BuyOnions.com.
Smart.
I thought that was nice and simple, that you could get it and see it and understand at a glance what the domain does or what the domain it represents. And in big letters on the, I posted this image on Twitter at some point, and it's just big letters. It says something along the lines of Vidalia Onions, home delivery, BuyOnions.com, and then some logos and stuff. And that's it. So if you're driving down, quick glance, Vidalias, a lot of people love Vidalias. They know they're in Vidalia country when they're driving through 95. They're in close enough country. Hopefully my goal was they would remember it. And then when they got home, they could type it in. Oh, yeah, it was BuyOnions.com.
Probably
Simple things.
2,500 cars an hour. Like when we're talking about traffic, we're not talking about web traffic.
Yeah, physical cars.
Traffic.
Yeah.
Driving to Florida.
Yeah, I did billboards once back in the day with my local job boards, and they were great. They really helped.
I broke even on mine. I get spoiled with
Really
paid
like
search.
$1,000, $2,000 a month.
I paid $1,200 a month, and this is an old friend of mine, oddly, who ran this billboard company, and this was one of his boards he had on 95, and he charged, and since I'm a seasonal business, I didn't want it year round. So he was like, I'll hook you up. I'll do you 3 months right at the beginning and maybe the center of the season. So I ran it for about 3 months, and I broke even. I was happy with it, but then, the next season I had to take it down, and then I had to pay, you have to pay for the installation. You have to pay for the fabric or the vinyl, whatever they call it. And man, paid search is so easy. I was like, man, I'm paying $1. I'm seeing about $2 or $3 return on paid search. I'll just stick with paid search. Billboard was fun, but I'll stick to where I tend to hang out. But on these UTM parameters, if you do I'll tell you, YouTube is such a great resource. If you go to YouTube and just do like UTM parameter tutorial, there'll probably be a bevy of folks out there just teaching you step by step how to build one, so you can look in your analytics, whether you use Google Analytics or I use Clicky. I also use Plausible, which is a newer analytics system. Clicky and Plausible is a paid. Clicky, I think, has a free one, but I just go ahead and pay just to support those guys. And then you can start sifting through the traffic to see where is it coming from. Are those users doing what you hope they would do when they visit your site? And determine just if you're getting a return on your investment. If you're spending money on this traffic, you need it to provide. I need it to perform so I can afford or continue to pay that advertising expense down the road.
Yeah. Hey, Thibault, I haven't heard from you yet. You have a job board? If so, what is it?
No, I just work for Jobico, so I'm just here to answer any
okay.
questions. And yeah.
What's new at Jobico these days?
What's going on with Jobico? So we've just launched. We're getting into the programmatic advertising space. So we're launching a new product soon called Jobico Air.
For your clients?
I can't say too much about it, but yeah, that's on the horizon.
Awesome.
Yeah, and things are going well, and we're implementing smart matching technology. We've got smart matching technology as well, and that's really ramping up. So that's where you can, let's say you have a candidate database, and you have the employers that log in, and based on the how would I put it, like the algorithm and the data. Let's say that you want to look for someone who's because with Jobco we really help niche job boards so that we can help define the taxonomies. So let's say, for example, Jordan, you spoke about construction, so you could type in like really define the taxonomies like bricky and something like that, and it will then understand what you mean by as in bricklayer. And then you could see in Manchester, and and then it would then show you the people that are in that would be good for the role, that have had, let's say you want 5 years experience, and it would match that through the data. So we're using different ideas, and that's something that our clients are really interested in.
Yeah. And what's the pricing on Jobco these days? Like, what's the basic price points you guys have?
Yeah, so the basic price point, we have a one-time setup fee of $29,000, and we have a one-time fee of $2,900. So yeah, it's as we're on the more premium side, but we have really large.
Yeah, you're the Cadillac of job board software.
Yeah. Some of our clients include like Jobly, like Monster Finland. We have Medley Careers. We have quite large job boards. So yeah. If you guys want to learn anything, just drop me a message, and we can give you a product demo or whatever.
Before we move on, so I was looking at a Jobco client site a little while ago. I guess it was like booksellerjobs.com or something. Do you know that?
I think I'm aware of it. I mainly the thing is sorry, I forgot to mention, we have a really big. We're an Austrian company, but we also have a massive presence in the UK. But yes. Anyway, you were saying.
So for $30,000, you'll make a site that looks basically like that. What do I get for $31,000? It's $2,000 to start, and then $29,000 on top of that, right?
Yeah. So the thing is as Chris mentioned, we're like the Cadillac. The thing is you can just, like, there are many different job boards that you can just plug your credit card in and have a job board tomorrow. These solutions do exist, and I know some of you guys have probably even tried them. But what we do is that we really help you to. We want you to become to empower you to become your own job board expert. That makes sense. So we help you to define your own strategy, position yourself in the market, help you with monetization, help you to really understand what works well. We have integrated e-commerce as well. So some of our clients don't like that with Stripe integration. So we're taking that time to market, the time that you get paid down as well. And we have the candidate login. So all that data is up to date. So you log in, you upload your CV, we pass it, everything's up to date. The white label, so your design and your branding is the same. So it's not just like clunky, you're having to rebrand around the white label solution. And then, as I said, you can define the products. You can bundle together different products to really what works in your industry. Have that inventory backfill if you desire, and then we have the SEO integrations, Google for Job integrations, as we've spoken about today, and we then help you. Sorry, you were saying
beyond job posting revenue, what other products can you do on a Jobco platform? Like, what are the other upsells or product types you can offer?
We also offer, so as I say, we have the programmatic side, we have the smart matching side, we have you can monetize the candidate database, you can monetize the employer branding page. We're fully flexible, so there are many different ways that you can make that you can be successful with your job board.
Yep.
Okay, so if I'm looking at jobs.thebookseller.com, you did that. That's an example of Jobco's work.
Yeah. I believe so. Let me have a look. Jobs.bookseller.
Yeah, thebookseller.com. Right? Jobs in books.
Yeah, that is a Jobico client, I believe.
Yeah. I was looking at that earlier. It's beautiful. Okay, so, and what are
Thank
the
you.
ongoing costs of running something like that? I know you're not giving me a quote, or I won't hold you to this, but just broadly speaking, what does it cost to run something like this every month?
So as I said, as I said to you, the entry level is 30,000 like initial upfront costs, and then 2,900 a month.
A month. Okay, 2,900 a month. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, Katarina just sent me from Java Coach, sent me a couple of boards launched recently, trying to find the
Yeah,
what
we
was it?
have
CNC
a
job
few-
board.
Yeah, CNC job boards. That's a really cool example of.
Yeah,
I can put it in the link as well. What's
in the
cool
chat.
is because it's so niche. If you have a look at the way that they priced the like the different bundles, it's pretty cool because it's such a niche job board. Let me just put it in and the specific link for you. It's a really good example of a recently launched.
Do I just
Hire
and it's
HireCNC.com. Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, hi CNC. That's the one. Let me just check my
There
send.
you go. I'll put it in the chat there. It's a Canadian site, but that could be a global site. It's got a good domain. Oh, it is global. Okay, it's got US and Canada on there.
okay. I missed it. What's the URL?
HireCNC.com.
That's what I thought you said. CNC or
Yeah, it's
CNC.
in the chat there.
Yeah, and I was gonna share the. So if you look at if you go on the post a job section.
Yep.
Let me. Whoopsie. Well, this is the e-commerce bit I was talking to you about. Sorry, my internet's being extremely slow.
I'll share my screen 1 second.
Yeah, this is great.
Here it goes. Yep.
Perfect. Okay.
So as you can see, there's a single job posting there for $400, and that's because that's the price that they set it at. But I wanted to
It's my slow.
yeah, it's very slow today, my internet. Yeah, you have the different it was extremely transparent about the. Let me find the pricing.
How long to get up from start to finish? Just going live.
Right.
It took 6 to 8 weeks, if I'm not mistaken. So we're quite fast to market. It's not something that so the project implementation is quite fast.
So this is a delicate question, but I'm kind of new here. Does Lenza compete directly with you guys, and do you guys compete directly with Aspen Tech Labs? Like, what's the relationship of these companies? Are you direct competitors?
Lensa is not Lensa's just an aggregator of jobs. They compete with like Indeed.
Okay.
Aspen Tech Labs does have job spider mounts, so they have their own job board software. Yeah, so they do compete against Jobico. And Aspen Tech Lab also has other stuff as well, like job scraping and some kind of job data product that they have as well.
Is it built on Drupal?
Yes.
Yeah. And then it's output using Next.js. Yeah, is that right?
I believe so. I'm not.
That's why it's
I'm
so
not
quick.
extremely techy in that regard, but I know that a lot of our developers were like there when Drupal, like they're Drupal guys, you know.
Yeah.
We actually won a client through Drupal itself because we have such a good relationship with working with that.
This is a great solution. Okay, so to do something like this, basically you got to go sell.
Yeah,
You got to cold call your way into a cash flow positive situation with a business like this. This is not recruiting. This is a separate business. Yes, everybody go yes.
Yeah, it's sales and marketing, you know.
Uh-huh.
And
It's also just monetizing the existing candidate base that you have. So it's that's what I would say. It's something to bear in mind. You know, you have to have so a lot of our clients, you have to have a reason to come to, as Chris spoke about today, you have to have a reason for people to come to your job board. So Hire CNC post content, they post blog content about you know, the CNC market at the moment, and it's a great resource for that. We also have a really good job board called Creative Access. So that is what we were speaking about with the niche, like, so you can really define the taxonomies as well. So yeah, it's really good. But people go there because it's good resources for creative jobs, and then they see that they're already interacting with that website, and they see, oh, there's jobs there. Yeah, and that's really well made for mobile as well, because often if you're in between gigs, you might want to see if there's a job going, and we basically built it so it's good for mobile, so you can just scroll and apply for a job. And yeah, it's a really neat website.
Yeah.
Chris,
About
how
the
has technology changed in the last 5 years?
how has it changed?
Yeah, would this have been possible 5 years ago for a guy like me, or you know?
Yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of job board software out there, from the, you know, entry level to the, you know, the Cadillacs like Jobico. You know, I've been using Smart Job Board for years, Job Board IO. You know, I think Stacy, you work on Job Board IO, right?
Yeah, I started off with Smart Job Board. I liked them a lot. There was some functionality that I needed. So when did I start this? Probably like 5 years ago, whenever they first came out. I had coded it all in, well, I coded it initially and then had it done in PHP and MySQL. And then I moved over to jobboard.io, which I've liked. There's some limited functionality. I've got a really robust blog that brings a lot of traffic to the site. But however, if I want to get some more high-end ad revenue agencies on the site or working with me, like Mediavine, AdThrive, there's a few other ones. I just use Google Ads right now. I need to not have it on that platform. And so I'm kind of stuck. Like, I don't really own it anymore like I used to own it. I mean, that's sort of the downside then of having a job platform, right?
Yeah.
Like all this function. I mean, I used to spend so much on programming when it was at the point where I couldn't program it anymore. And I mean, I would spend like, you know, 30,000 in a year just on all.
That goes right to your bottom line. Yeah.
And it's like this never ending list in GitHub. Like, it's just never ending. Like it's like, again, like it's so much, there's so much behind the curtain. You guys, you can't even imagine like trying to do it on your own. Like every if then that, you know, it's super complicated. So having the platform has just like really given me back so much more of my revenue. So my net is so much better, but I've lost some ability to do anything. I chat with them all the time.
Yeah, what's new with them? Because they've been quiet.
You know, you sound sane and well-adjusted, and it sounds like you're running a job board rather than the job board running you.
Yes.
And
Yes.
That's been the problem for me. I've had these amazing domains for years. You know, CEOjobs.com or creativejobs.com. Like, holy shit, why wouldn't I just go? Because I make money as a recruiter, so I can't afford. I have 6 kids. I can't afford to do this.
I mean, for what it's worth, like, I've done the rounds with all this like software as service, like Smart Job Board, Jobboard.io, Jobboard.com. They've all got problems, and you know, I just gave up in the end and started building it on WordPress again because.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I've gone back because if I want something, I can just do it.
Yeah.
You know, Jobboard.io, as soon as the recruiter came in, I just left because I knew that would be the end of development for that, and they haven't done anything.
It has been, yeah.
I mean, to be fair, I think the one area that all of these providers fall short is content, and job boards are going to have to be content first going forward. And they just seem to you know, oh, we've come up with this new job alerts platform. Great, but I want a blog. And none of them do it. Nice job board, rubbish. You
I
know,
agree,
Dave.
job.com, the blog's rubbish, you know.
I agree. Most of these guys, I mean, I'll give Smart Job Board the most credit because they do like usually a quarterly update with something new, right? But no one else is coming out with new features. And I've been harping on this for a couple of years now. I'm getting a little annoyed that they're not coming out with, the latest features like, PPC models and, new ways to make money and, things like that. I mean, they're not iterating enough for me.
But I think the blog aspect is really significant, and I'm glad. I have always found that to be like such a huge value. My site gets about 40 to 50,000 sessions a month, and the bulk of that is from the blog, which then I can, I watch to see where people are going, and then they're going over to the jobs because there's a little feed over on one side from the blog, so you can see. So that's where I like build my community. That's how I get like the traffic going on it. And I've begged, ZipRecruiter or jobboard.io to at least just have like a search functionality in a blog, just like something in there to show that there's some value in it. But I always get, no, I don't get a response.
I mean, from their point of view, why do they need to update it? They're selling shovels in the gold rush.
Yeah,
like,
I'm giving them $300 a month. So why would they?
They get 100 of you paying that. They've got you. You can't leave. It's a nightmare to migrate a job board to a new platform. So they've got you. This is the trouble. I mean, I spoke to Rody at Smart Job Board for the features I want, and he quoted $1,000 a month. And I was like, I could just build my own for $1,000 a month, or I can go to
an enterprise version.
Yeah, because this is the problem. But that's their business model. I mean, Smart Job Board, to be fair, like Chris said, they are doing updates a lot. But for the rest of them, I'm not so sure.
Yeah.
So Dave, what is yours built on? Yours is awesome.
Oh, thank you. Well, it's only 2 months old. I've built it on WordPress in the evenings outside of normal work.
But there's job board functionality that's embedded into this. So
yeah. So what I've done is I've just used a basic theme like Generate Press, and then I've used Job Board Manager, which is like a plugin, and then I've just hacked into it as much as possible. And I'm probably about 25% where I want to be with it. But yeah, I switched it over at Christmas. So give me 12 months, and you might see where I want it to go.
It's got a nice clean layout. I like it. Yeah,
it looks awesome, and it probably looks great on a smartphone.
It's getting there.
I'm sold. And so are you a recruiter with a job board or a job board guy with a recruiting business? Like it looks like you're in the recruiting business at the bottom here.
I've come at it backwards. So I've done SEO for 12 years and did digital marketing. And I was like, do you know what? I want to give a job board a go. And I've been on and off playing around with it for 3 years, hence all the different platforms I've tried. And because I know how it works behind the scenes, but I'm not quite a coder, programmer, I get frustrated, hence WordPress is what I know, and I'm going to build my own. I mean, it's only a side gig type thing, like, so year 1 we're talking like 5 grand, year 2 was 10 grand, year 3 was 25 grand. So people are paying now, and it's on WordPress, so we'll see.
Yeah.
But I'm quite honest with it. It's a bit of a project, see where I can go with it. Someone's already offered me quite good money for it. Would I walk? Probably. The
amazing thing, take the money and on to the next, isn't it?
This is what Peter was talking about. Somebody offered me retail jobs, like retail-jobs.com about 4 months ago for $15,000, $20,000.
Yeah, same here.
Didn't have a spare $20,000 kicking around, and a speculator bought it, and he's remarketing it for $170,000 or whatever. I don't know if he'll ever get it. Domainers always think the domain is worth more than it is, but if you have the knowledge, you know how to build it, and you know what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, I bought digitalmarketingjobs.com for $1,000 5 years ago when it was 1.5 to the pound, so it's like 600 quid.
Yeah. Hey, let's go around the room. How much did you pay for your domain? Let's go around the room. I want to hear this number. Stacy.
I don't know. I was like probably like $5 at the time, right?
Oh, you got it easy. Okay, 20 years ago.
I I have bought other ones. I just recently bought one, starting up a food blog called High Protein Recipes, and I bought it for like 2,000.
Okay. Jordan?
Mine was from the register for like $10 or something.
Okay. All right. Peter, what was your number?
Well, I'll mention, let's see, Dave was doing digital marketing. So my secondary job board is SEO jobs. I spent 15 grand on that because I really, really wanted it. And like Dave, my old world is SEO, paid search, analytics, and I'm partnering with just a Twitter friend to build out SEO jobs. And we're starting to rank. We're doing okay. We don't have the revenue yet. We're slowly getting the revenue, I think. But either I'm going to 15 grand for that. And then I've spent 5 grand on ranchjobs.com.
Perfect.
Ryan, what about Trusted Herds? That was probably an easy one, right?
It was very easy. Yeah, I think it was $10. But I have looked into other word plays and
Yeah, have you thought about buying like eventjobs.com or something?
I honestly think Trusted Herd could get more broad and just into general gig jobs, like almost compete with a TaskRabbit in a sense, because we do have those profiles and people do use them like a LinkedIn. So might get a little bit more broad than just events. But I don't know. Peter, I'm happy to see you here. I follow you on Twitter and I'm like, I know this guy. I know that name.
Oh, thanks. No, Brian, do you own the plural of Trusted Herd, Trusted Herds, just to own it so a domainer doesn't get it?
Or HEARD?
Just that's what I try to do.
There are people who do HERD when they'll message me or whatnot.
I see it with ranch work. My ranchers every now and then will call ranch work Ranch Works. And they'll add an S on the end, and it kills me because that's the one I haven't acquired yet. And whenever I'm thinking of terms, I come out of the domainer space, and these domainers are going to buy anything, and they're going to try to front run you. And buy names that you may need down the road. So I'm always trying to think, whenever I see somebody build a project, hopefully they buy singular and plural just to take that chess piece off the board, because these domainers are going to do it. And then
Peter,
they're going to be a domainer.
I had a guy who owns digitalmarketingjob.com get in touch with me on LinkedIn, and he wanted to see if I would sell it. And he offered 25,000. And I was like, well,
it's a good price.
Because I was like, the turnover, I mean, that's what it makes a year, off the second year.
Yeah.
So we got to $1,000 a month for 60 months, and I still said no to him because he wanted to do it on the drip. But I'm like, if I could own it, I want his domain, not the other way around.
Yeah.
But this is the problem. If we join forces, it could work quite well. But we'll see. But I agree with you. You've got to cover all bases with these domain names. Like, I've got
I kind of went to town with them when I've got the construction jobs. Australia is where I've started, but I've also bought construction jobs USA, construction jobs Canada, construction jobs America, construction jobs. So I've just bought, because they were all available unregistered, like $10. So if I can be a success with the idea of the market, where I've got the social media, and then hopefully when I've got money, start developing the same website in different countries, because there's a huge demand for construction workers worldwide. There's infrastructure, it's booming in all of these countries. So
constructionjobs.com is a pretty big site, I think, today.
I got construction jobs worldwide, not only constructionjobs.com. I couldn't get that. That was owned by someone, or it was this high value.
That's a long time job board,
Yeah, but I've found all many different ones. I've got construction jobs worldwide, construction jobs USA, construction jobs America, construction jobs Canada, Commonwealth, English speaking countries are the sort of ones where I was like, right, this is me thing. Australia is me love child. That's what I'm working on. That's why I have an audience for. And the rest of them was like, have the domain, because if this makes money, it's scalable into different countries.
What other domain acquisitions? Anybody other buy anything else?
I sold 20 years ago. I sold careerclicks.com to a guy in Japan for like I think it was like probably $10K. I think I sold it for.
Wow.
That was way early.
Yeah. Or brandable too,
careerclicks.com.
not even like a descriptive, it's a brandable.
And then I sold Career Cloud back in 2017, site which I started for 30K.
So does that, like, I've never been through the process and I always stop right when I get there, but like, hey, this domain is taken, but we can contact someone for you, $69.99. Like, have you guys done that process before? And what is that like?
Oh, it's so funny, Brad. I don't want to interject. I just did this with Ranch Works. So it's owned by GoDaddy, whose information is obfuscated these days.
Yep.
So I paid the $70. I was like, maybe it's a GoDaddy registered name. I was like, let me try this. I've seen this for years. I didn't anticipate anything happening, but I reached out, paid the $70. So what they do, they just act on your behalf and reach out to them. They already have their phone, they have their email, and they have their physical address. So I think from what they were communicating to me, they reach out to them through all channels to see if they'll respond. This person, whoever it is renewing ranchworks.com every single year. But it's a dead page too. It's not even like a landing page at Cedo or Dan.com that's listing it for sale. It's just a full-on dead page. Nothing has ever been developed on the site. I thought my buddy owned it and he's never owned it. Long story short, I paid the 70. They could never get in touch with them. After about 30 or 45 days, they emailed me and said, hey, we tried our best. We couldn't reach out to them. If the domain does lead you to a for sale page, it's actually good news if you're really interested, because it at least means the seller is willing to negotiate and accept a price versus a true dead end on the name that I was trying to acquire. Well, I don't know who to reach out to. Nothing. Yeah.
So at that point, Peter, do they just say, we tried, and they don't refund your money, right?
No. Yeah, they keep the 70.
I tried it once too with a domain, but I never got it. I knew, but it did.
Yeah.
The way you described it, Peter, was exactly what happened. Yeah.
Sounds like a good gig, doesn't it? $70 a go.
Yeah. I prefer. I mean, a lot of the domainers approach it this way. They feel like, because I hang out in these circles with these domainers, but they feel like they're doing this. Yeah, some people treat them like scalpers, like front running domains, which they sort of are. But I also see it as real estate, and these domains are real estate, and you own real estate on the web. A lot of us have portfolios of 50 to 100 domain names. So somebody else reached out to me on one of the domains I've had on a dead project. Yeah, I'm going to charge them 50 grand for if they want my domain. Yeah, pay up or go away. Yeah. So I see it from both sides of the fence. But
Peter, if someone comes looking for it, it's money, isn't it?
Yeah, and you can see traffic.
The demand.
Dan's a good one.
I sold a gigjob.com on GoDaddy auctions.
Yeah.
I listed it. I got $2,200 for it. Just out of the blue. I just put it up there and it's free.
Yeah, and they'll do all the escrow and payment processing. And if it's registered there, they'll help with the transfer over.
Yep.
Yeah.
Peter, do you have an idea and then go for a domain, or do you go, that's a good domain, I'm going to create an idea?
Typically I go, domains are usually my inspiration. Typically, I start with the domain gives me some level of inspiration, and then I try to build. It's gone back and forth over the years. SEOjobs.com was my old world. I had success with Ranchworks. So it's my little baby project. And I was like, man, I love this job board world. And that's when I started following Chris. This is years ago. I was like, man, if I can find another industry that I have some level of interest or, I'm curious about, I continue to be curious about, and SEO has done a lot of good for me over the years. I started in paid search and then bled into SEO and then into analytics and all that stuff, and then domain names eventually. So I know I'm average at SEO, but all you really need to be is average if you're doing a job board and understand what people are searching for and build pages to fill those needs from a job board perspective.
I mean, most SEOs, when you speak to them after they've been doing it 5-10 years, they realize, hang on a minute, I make more money building my own thing than selling SEO as a service.
And I see it that way. But I mean, I know a lot of freelancers, like my partner on SEO Jobs does freelancing, and he does great freelancing. But I pinged him to see if he wanted to partner up on SEO Jobs. He was like, heck yeah, I'll have this like you were doing, like just a little side gig. Takes us 30 minutes a day to source and curate some really high quality SEO jobs. And slowly wait for that drip. We're already starting to rank for the term SEO jobs. We're number 1, number 2 on Bing, DuckDuckGo, some of the lower tier search engines. And it's a matter of time. Hopefully, cross our fingers, and Google, we start getting up there.
Are you backfilling, Peter?
I was just going to ask
No.
the same thing. You said you're.
Well, I don't backfill. I like doing everything. I'm like Southwest Airlines. Everything you find on our site, you only find on our site.
What do you mean when you say
I don't-
curating?
So how do you get them though? Are you giving away free?
We're finding them. We'll scrub the web. I know most of the.
You're posting them directly onto your site as if
Yeah.
you were the. Okay.
Yeah. So I'll find source. So I got about 500 websites of companies that, and I'm adding to this about every single day, of companies that have either in-house SEO teams, or I have links directly to SEO agencies. So I just usually in the morning, like it's my morning paper, I'll go visit those sites. Are they looking for anybody today? Oh, they just posted a new SEO specialist, and they're open to remote. And hey, it's listed in Colorado. So they listed the salary. So now I can list the salary, direct link to them, drive them leads. It's almost like an olive branch to them. I drive them leads. I fill it without the need of a recruiter. And then hopefully they love us and they come back and spend $99 with us at a later point and fill jobs. So we're starting that water wheel right now. We've already filled, we have 5 or 6 testimonials from some agencies and in-house folks that have posted, and we filled it, and they didn't have to pay Indeed $1,000, $2,000 to sift through resumes. We forward it directly to them.
Yeah, I mean, I just back that up. I mean, I've tried JobGate, and I spoke to some of the customers, so like the employers, and they're like, you know, why are we paying you? When you click on the ad, it takes us to like total jobs. It takes us to CV library, you know. So I've just scrapped that. I've gone manual. I've got 120 employers that use us ad hoc. I scrape and add it myself. I reached out to some charities and I said, look, you can post for free.
I do.
And then I've got a couple of recruiters that pay me like a fixed amount every month, and I just let them post what they want.
Oh,
and
excellent.
I'd rather have 100 jobs that go direct, even if it's just to their employer website, than 1,000 that go to other job boards, because it's not good experience.
Yeah.
So you guys are both manually entering them in as if you were the employer. What about using, so it's been discouraged to backfill, but what about using some sort of parser like Octoparse or something where you're getting the information, but you're manually importing that job into like your top fold jobs? Like, I'm trying to think of how
I
to
haven't
get
done
more
it yet.
traffic
It's
for
really,
jobs.
yeah, it's weird, Stacy. It's really not a pain point for me. It's so relatively easy. Not easy. My old world was the SEO world, so I can quickly find a job, determine if it's, somewhat legit, and determine if it might fulfill a need with the folks that are already visiting our site. We have 800 people. We've been live about a year now. So we have about 800 people on our email list and understand what they're looking for. But it's weird. It's all doing this grunt work. And I like doing grunt work because nobody else is going to do it. I'll do the grunt work and do this.
You know, if you've got 2 screens and you're used to doing it, it's 3 or 4 minutes. And then like
it takes me
Peter
10.
says, yeah, I find like there's 2 in the UK, there's Guardian jobs. You know, I have a gut feeling that they manually upload some jobs. Well, they find them for me. I go on there and they've put 10 jobs up for charity. I just scrape it across manually myself. Bang, I'm done. You know, I try and do 5 jobs a day. Hold my hands up. I'm not doing it every day, but you know, we're getting there. So, you know, but it makes it more of an experience for the candidate.
Speaking of scraping, we got Alec here from SourceStack.
But even what we always shoot for, so this is what I did, what I'm doing on SEO jobs is similar, and Dave may have a similar experience. On ranch work, I seeded everything manually for about the first year. And then there was a certain tipping point where ranches started fulfilling and submitting jobs, paid or free. And then there was a slow switch. Well, I didn't have to source and curate I didn't have to source any of them. At that point, I truly turned into a curator, making sure that everything was legit, coming from a real ranch, and making sure that it was just formatted easy, formatting the images and making sure the site is lightning fast on the best WordPress host I can find. and then just being a little shepherd for the website. But so we're trying to get there right now with SEO jobs to get enough free listings per day. So every day we have a queue of free listings waiting, but the paid listings get priority and are listed within 24 hours is the rule we do for SEO jobs.
Yeah, and it's also creating that, like, you know, I need to be on his board experience. So like, I don't know, I'll pick 3 or 4 medium-sized businesses, and then within a couple of months, their competitors posted and paid for a job because they see, hang on a minute, they're advertising on Dave's job board.
Yeah.
So, and then I'll switch it around a little bit, you know, and yeah, it works, but it's trial and error, isn't it, with everything?
Yeah.
But I want to be in control of what's on my job board. And when I use JobGate, there was trash on there, you know, that weren't even digital marketing jobs. And Google's smart enough to go, hang on, it's digitalmarketingjobs.com, but you've got an account manager or an IT support manager that's managed it. It's not good.
Yeah. Hey, I had an off the cuff question. I didn't even talk about it in my earlier, Chris, but have any of you guys ever seen like a job board do a virtual job fair?
Yes, I had a client once that did that. Yeah, they did it on Zoom.
So we have, when COVID hit, Trusted Herd and I had this oh shit moment. My whole world is crumbling down. I pitched to my developer, hey, we're going to start this other business. So this other business is called Switchboard, and it's 2-way video without having to download anything, right? And you can either use QR entry points or a link. And anyway, we built it in 2 years. It's an awesome platform. We're trying to figure out like how to launch it. And I was like, I really want to leverage Trusted Herd because it's a built-in audience, right? I don't have to chase new people out. And I was like, you know what? All these gig workers out there have trouble getting in front of workers or companies. What if you offered like a 1-day job fair to all your people, all your companies? Maybe it was a couple $100. You had 3 different level tiers, and that's how they displayed on the page. But on the page, you could click it and it immediately connects with the recruiter, right? And it's like a 3 or 4 minute speed date style. And if, you know, hey, we get to the end of it, Chris, I really like what you're all about. I'm going to email you a link to apply, you know, after this. I'm just curious, have any heard something like that before?
Well, there is virtual job fair software out there like vFairs, Brazen, things like that. You can hire them to host your job fair virtually. I had a client do just a Zoom job fair where they basically, you know, just invited the audience in, or webinar style, you know, almost kind of like my Crowdcast was. You can do it that way. You just have different rooms. You could have just a single stream or something like that. And just have a schedule of companies, and 4:15 X company, 4:30 X company, to et cetera, et cetera. Do it that way. I've seen a few of those here and there.
Okay.
This is weird. I forgot I owned it. Totally forgot I owned it. But if you type speedrecruiting.com into a browser, you'll result to my LinkedIn profile.
Let's try that.
Apparently it's a great idea. I was listening to the idea.
That's a good personal branding tool.
Okay.
Do you have e-commerce recruiter going there?
No, I'm not doing it. So like every other domain except for e-commerce jobs, I just own them.
Do you own e-commercerecruiter.com?
There, speed recruiting, done.
Yeah.
Joint venture, done. Awesome.
It's a good personal branding tactic.
Yeah,
that's great.
It's a great idea. So, okay.
All right, guys. Well, it's
a question, if anyone can answer for me, is if on my website is brand new, so everything I'm sharing almost is it's scraped data from larger jobs websites, which I've never permission for. I'm not affiliated, but I'm sharing that through my social media, and that's where my targeted candidates are on the social media. But then I've had one company, and then I'm worried there's more and more companies going to be asking, why are you sharing the job? Why are you sharing my job? Where have you got the data from to share my job? And how does this application go further? What are you doing with the data from that advert that you've shared? So I shared one. I've scraped the data. I have my job boards full with all of these jobs relative to what I want to, and now I'm putting them back onto social media, and the company was an apprenticeship, a construction apprenticeship company. They've seen their own brand on my advert and they said,
Yeah. Has anybody got pushback from a company like that before, from an employer? Anybody?
Just to hop in here, we're a backfill data vendor, so we scrape a pretty tremendous number of jobs. We have not had any problems to date, but we're scraping from applicant tracking systems where the jobs you see are kind of the source of truth for an employer. So when you're reposting that scraped job, it's just going back to the employer. So if someone's going to have a problem, and on the employer side, you can tell them, hey, we're driving you traffic for free. That's ideal for you, right?
What was my answer was, I said I'm affiliated with, which I'm not. I said I'm affiliated with a large jobs board targeting an audience and just a passage through to their website. And they didn't make any complaints about it. They just stopped talking, but it slowed me down from putting them posts out on my social media, because I'm thinking, hold on, the next person that sees their brand underneath my name again, they're going to keep asking, why, who are you, where are you getting my advert from? And that's why I asked.
You got to spin it around. I'll tell you one story. I did something like, obviously I did everything manual. And I put a job on for a company, and I won't say which company it was, and they got in touch to say some of the data was wrong. And I said, well, if you want to change it, you'd have to be a paid post. And they just said, right, how much?
Well,
So,
that was kind of that was my answer to them when she said, where's the data going? And I wasn't capturing the data. I was forwarding them to the larger website. And I said, if you'd like, if you want us to handle the applicants, you can buy it. There's my prices. But that was why I asked the question earlier when the seminar started. Because now I'm wanting to try, instead of just passaging through to the larger website, I can see it apply through me. And then that means the candidate leaves his CV at my website before he goes forward to the bigger website. And that's what I'm trying to understand. What lines am I crossing? Am I allowed to share the bigger website's advert and steal the CV at the same time? Or am I crossing the line? I'm trying to learn.
No, I mean, I think everybody, pretty much does that kind of tactic to stock their job boards initially. And as long as you're driving traffic back to where it originates from, I don't see any issue with it. So I'm going to end the session here, guys. It's getting late, but I appreciate you guys coming today, and hope you guys enjoyed the sessions. And I guess we'll see you next year.
Pleasure.
Nice one, man. Thanks.
yeah.
Great.
Cheers. Thank
All right,
you.
guys.
Enjoy your evenings, y'all.